What's up, guys? Welcome back for another episode this week. I am sicker than before, but I am not taking breaks. We are trying to get these rankings out. We are trying to let you guys get ahead of the competition. So apologies if it looks like I'm crying. It's not that I'm that invested in these rankings or so obsessed with you guys watching. It's just that I'm super freaking sick and my eyes will not stop watering. So earlier this week, we went over top 12 Dynasty QBs. Today, we're going to go top 12 Dynasty running backs, one of the most important positions in fantasy football, if not the most important position, right? Probably the shallowest position, but still very important if you're trying to win your league. So let's get it kicked off. My number 12 Dynasty running back in my ranks. How about James Cook of the Bills? He was RB11 last year. Over 1,500 total yards, 13.69 points per game. I really think Cook kind of cemented a more solid role in the Buffalo offense. I don't ever think he's going to be a full quote-unquote workhorse running back, which is kind of why I have him down here at 12. But he's on one of the NFL's best offenses. He's paired with Josh Allen, which is a positive and a negative, right? He's going to have a lot of scoring opportunities, but a lot of those are going to be taken by Josh Allen, kind of is why I have him down here at 12. But a great pass catcher involved in both facets of the game. I think he's a pretty safe low-end RB1, high-end RB2 in Dynasty. Number 11, someone who just shot up my ranks, someone I've spoken about since last offseason as a sleeper, and someone who is catching a lot of freaking hype right now. Tyjae Spears. If Derrick Henry leaves, which we all are assuming he is after his basically retirement speech from the Titans, Tyjae Spears, RB35, 838 total yards, 9 points per game. This is really more of a projection than something based on what we saw last year. Although when he was given the opportunity, I think he was very, very good last year. I think he was very good with the ball in his hands. He makes plays. He's a great pass catcher. So this is one of those ones where it's a little risky, but I think Tyjae Spears could be a top 5 running back for the next 3 to 5 years if he's given the opportunity. I love the talent. So I don't know if you're going to be able to acquire him. It's tough. He's very hyped right now, and those are sometimes guys that are hard to get. But I love the talent, and I think he's going to be a very high-end asset for your Dynasty team. Another guy, Kenneth Walker, probably one of the safer assets on this list. I don't know if he fully possesses that RB1 overall ceiling like some do, but just a great running back, basically. Now, with Charbonnet there, I don't know if he's ever going to have a 70% share of this backfield. It's probably going to be more 60-40. But new coach, defensive coordinator, right, coming over from the Ravens for the head coach of Seattle. So I think with Kenneth Walker, I just think he's stable. I think they're going to try to pound the ball. They're going to play defensive football, very similar to how Pete Carroll wanted to play, right? Last year, RB19, over 1,160 total yards, 13.29 points per game. So pretty solid stats, not that elite ceiling. Oh, I'm sorry, but a very safe asset. RB9, Travis Etienne, the RB3 for 2023, almost 1,500 total yards, 16.6 points per game. So very good asset. In what I would say is a pretty down year for the Jaguars offense, I would expect them to be more efficient. But I would also expect Travis Etienne to probably not be the RB3 again next year. But with that being said, I think he's a lock to be a top 12 RB unless someone gets hurt, which we're really not trying to project. Pretty good ceiling, good pass catcher, and I think he has a pretty good hold on a majority of the touches in that backfield. So I think I'd be pretty happy to own Travis Etienne as an RB1 in Dynasty as of right now. RB8, probably one of the hardest guys to rank in Dynasty. Kyren Williams, almost 1,400 total yards, 1,350, 21.25 points per game, which makes it so tough to rank, right? He's not a first or second round pick from the NFL draft, but this dude put up over 20 points per game when he was on the field. So that upside has to be factored in when ranking him. Now, is he replaceable? I don't necessarily think he's going to get replaced, but I do think his leash and or his ability to be replaced is a little shorter or more likely than some of these other maybe first round picks. But just an absolute stud when he was on the field for the Rams. We'll see what happens moving forward with that offense. But probably not someone I would be trading for unless I'm getting a really good deal. But if you have him, I think this dude's probably going to be a late first round redraft pick next year. And when he's on the field, he's been absolutely amazing. So I think I'd be pretty happy to have him here at RB8. RB7, Devon Achane. RB24 this year, almost 1,000 total yards, 3 off, 17.3 points per game. Probably one of the most explosive players on this list. We will see what happens in Miami. I do still really like Devon Achane. I am a little concerned that I think Mostert may be back, or I don't know if Achane's really ever going to be a workhorse guy, but probably one of the most explosive players in the NFL. And he's going to be efficient with his touches in that Mike McDaniel's offense. So when it comes down to it, Devon Achane is an elite dynasty asset and very worthy of being ranked as a top 7 running back. Next, Saquon Barkley, someone I've been touting a lot. He is a little older than some of the younger guys on this list, but just the definition of a bell cow workhorse running back, whatever you want to call it, 1,242 yards, about 16 points per game. I would expect him to be on a new team. But with that being said, he's going to handle probably 85% of the touches for whatever team he goes to. He can handle it. And now that he's a little more removed from some of those injury-ridden seasons a couple years ago, I think we really are starting to see kind of just that burst again from Barkley as we saw this year, where this dude's going to play till he's 30. I'm not as concerned with his age as I would be with some other players. He's one of the freakiest athletes in the NFL. So I think when it comes to him being 26, 27, I'm just not as concerned about her. I mean, like, think Derrick Henry, right? He kept getting up there in age, and he just kept putting elite after elite season together. So Saquon Barkley, RB6 in Dynasty. RB5, Jonathon Taylor. RB33 this year, 894 total yards, 15.6 points per game. We didn't really learn much this year or the year before. He had some unlucky years. He got hurt. But moving forward, I love Steichen's offense. Anthony Richardson should be back. And so I think moving forward, Taylor showed us once he was healthy this year that he's still one of those elite backs. He's a good pass catcher. He's a great red zone back, and he can break runs. So when it comes down to it, Jonathon Taylor is a top 5 dynasty back, still just young enough, kind of peaking where he's got 3 to 5 more years, right? Which is really all you should be expecting from anyone but the elite Dynasty RBs. And that's kind of the tier that we're about to go over. So number 4, Christian McCaffrey, right? He is the RB1. He's just a little older than the 3 guys that are in front of him. But the RB1 in 2023 total yards, I thought that was funny. 24.46 points per game. The biggest difference maker ever, right? This is probably just one of the most elite gaps we've ever seen from RB1 to RB2 this year. I mean, just look at this list, right? Travis Etienne was 16.6 points per game, and he was the RB3. Christian McCaffrey, 8 points higher than that at RB1. Just a little up there in age, but if you're a contender, this is an irreplaceable asset. I mean, and if you're trying to contend or you think you're in that window, might be worth asking how much he costs, because when it comes down to it, you have to set yourself apart to win a dynasty championship, and sometimes that means taking a little risk. RB3, Jahmyr Gibbs. These next 3 guys, I think we all know who they're going to be. Really tough to kind of distinguish them. RB Gibbs, 1,260 total yards, 16.14 points per game, the RB10. Just amazing with the ball in his hands on a great offense, a great offensive line. Plays a lot of his games indoors, which I do love for just a consistency factor. But Jahmyr Gibbs, man, I love the tape. I drafted him at 1-2 in 1 QB leagues last year. I was okay drafting him top 5 in Superflex. I just love the talent, and I think he was a lot closer to Bijan than people thought. And he basically just came out and showed that he breaks long plays. He makes plays in the passing game. And I'm a big Dan Campbell fan, so happy to own a Lion on the team. RB2, Breece Hall, the RB4 coming after a season where he tore his ACL. I'm amazed that he put up these stats with the QB turmoil in New York, right? RB4, 1,585 total yards, 17 points per game. A lot of PPR catches. We'll see if that is reduced if Aaron Rodgers comes back and he maybe doesn't check it down as much. But with that being said, maybe he checks it down less. But I would expect Breece Hall's efficiency to go up in a better offense. So Breece Hall, one of the few, just bell cow guys in the league. A great talent, breaks plays, and top 2 dynasty RB, man. This guy is irreplaceable on your team. And RB1, I don't want to say I'm being stubborn, but I just think I'm going to forget about Arthur Smith's team last year. Bijan, still RB9, almost 1,500 total yards, almost 15 points per game, in an offense that really didn't utilize him to his full capacity. Keep in mind, we have the QB coach coming over from the Rams, Raheem Morris, going to be the head coach now. So I would expect this team to operate a little more like we've seen the Rams operate, who really do feature one guy at running back. Algier is probably going to get his touches. I still think he's a solid talent. But I think it's workhorse season up for Bijan. And one more thing before we finish this video up. I did copy and paste my RB tiers as well, just so you guys can kind of see. So some of these, for example, 11 through 14, right? Like I love Tyjae Spears. I love James Cook, but Rachaad White, Isaiah Pacheco in the same tier. So basically that means I have these guys a lot closer. And I can almost interchange them. I'm really picking hairs to rank them between that second tier. Great. Taylor, Barkley, Achane, Williams, Etienne, Walker. And then that top tier, Bijan, Hall, Gibbs, McCaffrey, really just depends on what you are looking for, right? I mean, if you're looking for that McCaffrey, if you're trying to win, if you're trying to go back to back, maybe CMC is the best asset for you. And it's not Bijan, as much as I love Bijan. But thank you guys for tuning in, sticking through, my eyes watering. I'm sorry if this video is a little more awkward and I just look decrepit, but I wanted to get you guys some stuff out today and stick with the schedule though. So thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. I'm out here and I'm going to do this rain or shine, sickness or health, and we are going to win you some leagues next year. So peace, guys. Appreciate it.